Hello everyone, it's Saturday morning and I am just about to head off to the Victorian Society's Welsh Heritage Day in Cardiff, which I'm very excited about. But I thought I'd just pop on here quickly to do a second video about my PhD journey, for I have had some feedback. So those of you who maybe haven't seen this before, I'm Mock O'Keefe. I am currently a master's student at the University of Buckingham looking at country houses, and I spent a year, taught year, hearing from some amazing lecturers like Lucy Worsley and Earl Spencer and Adrian Tinnerswood. And I started to get interested in country houses from a queer perspective. I didn't realise the LGBTQ plus community have been so intrinsic to the history of country houses. I've always thought country houses were like the bastion of the patriarchy, and what I found out is that queer people curated them, lived in them, worried about being heirs to them, and often pass them on to the National Trust or have restored them. So there's a huge queer history there with historic houses, and I decided to look at that for my Masters. But as the second year of my Masters is fast moving, I don't want it to end. So I rather stupidly, surprisingly, worryingly, delightfully, all of the above, have applied to do a PhD. So I spoke to my supervisor and said I'd like to examine the idea of the country house as a place of refuge and community for LGBTQ plus people. So that went well in my initial conversation with him, and I had to put together a draft application, which I've done, and it's in, and now I have some feedback. So firstly, all good. Enjoyed it, he said. But actually the topic is something that he would say is worth exploring, which is exciting. But I'm a little bit worried, if I'm honest. I don't know what country houses I'm going to talk about. So I know that might sound a little bit old. I've been doing lots of research on country houses. I've read about Ashcombe, which was Cecil Beaton's house, about Long Crickall, which was part of the home owned by Eddie Sackville West and his mates. I've read about Horace Walpole at Strawberry Hill, the ladies of Llangollen here in Wales. Charleston and the Bloomsbury Group, and I've been talking a lot about the Bloomsbury Group on my Instagram account this week. But they're really well-known houses. I was hoping that I could almost use those as a bit of a spring point, bit of context of history, and then maybe through the course of my 5 years of my study, find new houses that I could talk about, those undiscovered lives in undiscovered country houses. But my supervisor has said it would be useful if I knew who and where you're going to talk about. And I just don't know how to do that because I haven't done the work yet. So I guess like my personal trainer, when she gives me extra weights at the gym, she says, I'm moving you out of your comfort zone into your stretch zone. That's what my supervisor is attempting to do here. And it means the doctorate is worth doing and is of value. But I have to figure out, how do I propose talking about something that I don't know exists yet? Maybe I'll just talk about the houses that I know, but as a PhD is supposed to significantly move forward the body of thinking about the subject you're talking about, or re-examine current thinking in a completely new and fresh light. Charleston, Long Crickall, Strawberry Hill, they've been covered in quite a lot of depth by other people. So we'll see. We'll see. And that's, I guess, part of the journey, part of the fun. So if any of you have done a PhD or who've got friends, family, partners who've done PhD that can give me any advice, how do you talk about something before you know what it is? I'd love to know. A couple of other things are going through my mind this morning. I'm reading loads of books. This camera is actually propped up on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 books that I've read over the course of this summer, and there's loads more over there on the bookshelf. They're all underlined, lots of pages turned down, lots of post-it notes. How do I order my notes? I need some study skills training, and certainly, this is 5 years because I'm doing it part-time. How do I make sure I don't lose anything? So I know that the University of Buckingham not only is fantastic at this Country House Studies module or programme, it also is really strong in its support for students and their study skills. So I'm going to talk to my supervisor about having some study skills support. But again, if any PhD students out there can give me any advice, I'd be very, very grateful. I know I have to include a bibliography. I put in there kind of my primary and secondary research, and what I've been asked to do is scrap that and put in a bibliography, which may sound really easy. I've got 13 books here and about 40 over there. Just write their titles and their authors, but no, it's a bit more complicated than that. There's a particular academic way of referencing books which is incredibly turgid. I actually went to a lecture at the Society of Antiquarians in November last year about it. And I sort of stored that away in there's another lecture in November 2022. I'll go then and actually pay attention this time because it's all a bit overwhelming. Well, now it's August 2022. No, it's September just. And I have to know about it. So I'm no doubt there's an app, or I can Google it. I'll talk to my supervisor. He's lovely. So we'll see. But again, any advice, any thoughts, please write something in the comments. This is a bit of a lonely journey. And it's lovely. I had some comments on my first video. It's really motivated me to keep going, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and your advice. And if you're new and you haven't seen my Instagram account, The Gay Aristo, @GayAristo on Instagram, is all about shining a loving light on an undiscovered LGBTQ plus history. And it grew out of my original master's. I realised, as I said, that so many LGBTQ plus people lived and loved in historic houses and are part of our national heritage. Whether it's David Bowie or Horace Walpole, these LGBTQ plus ancestors went before us, and often elements of their sexuality were edited out because perhaps at the time it was illegal, and it was illegal to discriminate against them. Maybe not so much the David Bowies, but certainly someone like the Horace Walpole. And I'm attempting to set right that historic injustice and bring their lives and their loves into the light. So join me here to find out about my PhD. You can also find out more about LGBTQ plus history. I put up probably twice a month longer episodes, and my latest one I am so pleased with. It is on Georgiana, the Duchess of Devonshire. Check it out, her historic throuple. Now, you may have seen the film The Duchess, the beautiful Keira Knightley film, and you may be aware that her best friend, Lady Elizabeth, or Bess, had an affair with her husband, the Duke, and in fact, when Georgiana died, spoiler, Bess became the new Duchess of Devonshire when she married the Duke. But did you know that there is significant evidence to suggest that Georgiana and Bess, in fact, were sexually intimate themselves, and that the Duke, the Duchess, and Lady Elizabeth Bess lived in a polyamorous throuple? Nah, didn't see that in a Hollywood movie. And that's what I mean. So much of the LGBTQ plus community's loves and lives have been edited out, and I want to set that injustice right. So join me, check out my latest episode, and any inspiration or thoughts for my PhD, very gratefully received. But now I need to run off and go to Cardiff for the Victorian Society's Welsh Heritage Day, and I need to do a reel for Instagram about another member of the Bloomsbury Group. I'm probably going to do John Maynard Keynes if I can find somewhere quiet to do it. All right, take care. Bye.